What is it?
Well, it's called Randomizer, and it's fitted to the guidance systems and operates under a very complex scientific principle called potluck. Now, no one knows where we're going. Not even the Black Guardian.
Not even us.
Hello, and welcome to episode 18 of the Randomizer podcast. I'm Tim.
Bloody hell, episode 18. I am Chaz.
We're old enough to vote.
Yeah.
No, that's 16.
We can drink. We can drink in pubs.
Great. Do they serve Pepsi Max in pubs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not for long, though, because apparently...
there's a shortage?
The fizziness and the shortage and, Brexit. So.
Well, we better get down the pub while we can.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's not much Doctor Who news to talk about, but there was a screening of an animation of Evil of the Daleks at the BFI. Don't really have much to say about it, except I saw some screenshots on Twitter of the screening, and people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, they said today that Galaxy 4 is being animated and showed a few little bits and pieces.
It's been a long time since I watched the reconstruction of that, but I remember being fascinated by the title and reading the target book, of course.
Yeah, there's one episode that exists as well, isn't there? Airlock,
Airlock,
I believe. Yeah. I'm quite looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to it mainly because it's not a Troughton. Nothing against Troughton, but, it's nice to get something different.
Yeah, we get to see Cartoon Billy.
Yay.
The other news is that Christopher Eccleston has agreed to do some more big finishes, which is nice. I've listened to only the first of the adventures they've released so far, but we'll talk about them in the future.
Yeah, definitely. What I've heard, I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, me too.
And I've heard about 5 minutes of the second one, and that sounds excellent or fantastic even.
I see what you did there. I have that queued up to go in my Big Finish app.
A man is the sum of his memories, a Time Lord even more so.
We will plunge straight on in with your Cheatin Memory, the part of the show where we have selected a random Doctor Who story and recalled what we can and then gone back and watched again. So last time we selected The Time of the Doctor, which more Matt Smith, what a shock.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But
something we haven't watched at all, at least 5 times in the last 3 months.
Yeah, we've both seen it fairly recently. But we watched it again last night and I really loved it still. Yeah. It's like, well, that was a short segment. On to the next.
No, it was wonderful. I mean, it's like I said to you, every single time I rewatch that, I just have absolute love for it. And because we watched it so often recently, I thought, oh, here we go. No, not at all. I was totally engaged.
Yep.
Totally loving it.
You were drooling a little at one point.
I was, but I think I just drool in general.
That's true. Now, I noticed a couple of new bits and bobs. I noticed that in the puppet show that's happening in one of the montages, there seemed to be a monoid puppet. So that was quite cute. Nice little detail.
No.
Does Tasha Lem survive? And is Tasha Lem still out there fighting the inner Dalek? And
well, hopefully.
Is there a Big Finish series I haven't heard about yet?
Oh, God, well, again, there'll be a gap, so...
On we go.
But yeah, oh God, no, I would love it. I mean, I really like Tasha Lem, but like I said, maybe the way it was structured, maybe Tasha Lem was in it, but I really, really feel that River Song was supposed to be in that story somewhere.
I mean, I sort of could see what you mean up until the point where she's dead to Dalek, because there's a bit of a conflict with Rivers.
Yeah, but I remember if he had envisaged River Song initially, I'm sure the story would have been slightly different to accommodate it.
Yeah,
anyway.
Maybe. I don't know. I think they're just similar in that the Doctor and Tasha Lem are extraordinarily flirtatious.
Oh, no. I mean, she's a great character. I'm not complaining. I really liked her. And I remember John saying that he was a bit disappointed by the hurried explanation for the TARDIS, and I can see that, but it's like I've said about Moffat before, he will always explain everything. It might be sometimes rushed or 100 miles an hour, but at least he bothers to explain it, And
if Stephen Moffat was ever caught at a crime scene, his first line would definitely wait, I can explain everything.
Yeah, definitely. But no, it's fun, it's emotional, It's it's action packed. It's maybe a bit too full, I suppose, of monsters.
Certainly a lot going on.
You know,
We talked previously about how the wonderful Strax as a comedy character had made the Sontarans a kind of, it would be a very tough act now to make the Sontarans threatening again. And sure enough, when they do pop up in this one, it's comic relief. Also now, I think I said yesterday, we've got a setup where we would expect a Sontaran to be kind of comic and ineffectual, and if they were really suddenly evil and killed somebody, it would be extra shocking. But
exactly.
the other thing, I think I went on a bit of a journey where we previously talked at some length about the long and indulgent 10th Doctor World Tour before the regeneration of the Lieutenant.
Yeah.
And I've been critical as well of Matt Smith sort of having a kind of second bite of the cherry after the big climax with the regeneration energy zapping the Dalek fleet and whatnot. But suddenly there he is, young again in the TARDIS. And it's very much led up to clothes on the floor, boots walking up the steps. You're expecting Peter Capaldi. And of course there'd been the big reveal in the media already. And then it's Matt Smith and he's young again. And I was always a bit like, oh, that's a bit kind of... And then, but watching it again last night, I was... Actually, no, it's perfect. There's, a one-line brief explanation. This is the reset.
Yeah.
And you get just enough time for an emotional farewell, the image of Amy and Amelia. And then the sudden snap, and it's Capaldi.
And it is quite a bit of a shock when he comes.
Which is obviously playing against... You've had your big splurge of visual effects.
But that I think that's what makes it nice, because Matt Smith gets his little moment, says his goodbye, does that beautiful little speech.
Breath in a mirror.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind admitting that I shed a tear every time I hear it, but it's not. He doesn't outstay his welcome. No. It's literally a minute, couple of minutes, and then boom, it's
one gig in the Midlands rather than the world tour.
Yeah, and then boom, you're into the Mad Scotsman.
The latest Mad Scotsman. Yeah. We've been very well represented as a nation by doctors, haven't we?
I think we've done quite well. It's not too bad.
And then as first words go, kidneys.
It's bizarre, isn't
it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of the most bizarre last words have got to be carrot juice, but that was accidental.
Yeah.
But, kidneys is first words.
Kidneys is
right up there.
It's not bad.
I don't like the colour.
I know. But yeah, I must admit, it is very sort of boom, he's there, and you can see the shock on Clara's face as well.
Well, that's the last shot of the serial.
Do you know how to fly this thing?
Yeah, it's not my favourite ever gag. It's sort of... It's a bit like a light bulb joke suddenly, but it's fine. Well, it's good. The rhythm of it's really good because it's sort of, you have that kind of emotional climax after the spectacular action climax before it, and then suddenly you think there's going to be another kind of light show, but no, bang, he's there. And that's very powerful.
I mean, there's so many nice little bits, especially when Clara comes back. Tasha brings Clara back to say goodbye to him, and he's old. And like that beautiful payoff with the cracker a year later, because she helps him to pull it, and then like Capaldi helps her.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful little sort of piece of symmetry.
Well, we looked up the poem, or did see if it was a real poem, because that would have been a hell of a coincidence. But as far as we can tell, it's not real. It was we found various fans who had written more verses of the same poem, but nothing that suggested it exists outside the story.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I noticed a lot in Moffat's
rhymes and poems.
Matt Smith's era, sort of the rhymes, like you say, in poems.
So you got a creepy nursery rhyme thing.
But again, that's that fairy tale thing, isn't it? That whole era was a sort of had that fairy tale theme going on.
Well, Spooky Children's Rhymes is a rich vein going right back to Sapphire and Steel, even, isn't it? Of course,
yeah.
And no doubt further. So, well, that was Time of the Doctor. Any other thoughts on our 900th viewing?
Well, if we hit the randomizer and it's Time the Doctor again, believe it or not, I don't think I'll be too disappointed, although it would be bloody nice to get a classic that is complete. Please, please, please not the Dalek Master Plan.
Look, when I give the word, press the button. The big one? Yes, maybe it works in conjunction with the others.
Well, let's do it. Let's fire up the randomizer.
Can you imagine it?
See what we can get this time.
All right, well, let's try and find out.
Oh, What could it be?
Fuck off.
No, it is Twice Upon a Time. Oh God, so for the end of one to the end of another, right?
Well, here's the thing, right? Now, I love it. I know you hate it.
I don't hate it.
Yes, you have a running hate on it.
I hate the depiction of the First Doctor in it. And I'm fed up of the old World War I football crap.
Yeah. But, I mean, okay, I understand the thing with the First Doctor, but to be honest, it's just played for a bit of a laugh.
No, I will watch it again. I haven't watched it again, so and I will see if I can still hold up my contempt for
my complaint about it is, and I really like it. I like Bradley, and it's, I suppose, Capaldi to share his last story with someone else. I like it, but I'm angry on Moffat's behalf because his ending of his Doctor was The Doctor Falls. That was only written because Chibnall didn't want to start on Christmas, and Moffat didn't want to lose the Christmas slot.
Right.
And then, boom, it's like next year, well, fuck you, I don't care about the Christmas slot anyway. So...
But that's outside of the program
internal
itself.
politics or whatever. So.
Yeah.
But, no, I like it. I think it's fun. And Mark Gatiss was actually surprisingly... I know I don't mean he's not a good actor, but... I mean, I kind of knew who the character was going to be, but I was surprisingly a lot more invested than I thought I would be.
Well, as often I've seen episodes and I haven't enjoyed them much, or as much as I'd hoped the first time.
Yeah.
Certainly the case with this one, I had a lot of expectation for seeing the First Doctor, and even Ben and Polly I was hoping for, but they're barely in it.
Yeah.
But no, we revisit and we reappraise. So. You can work your psychological magic on me.
I will tie you down in Clockwork Orange style. And
oh, lovely. And then will we watch the show after that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I don't have a sonic screwdriver because I'm not off on a romp. I call it what it is.
A great loss of pomp and circumstance.
While the randomizer's fired up, let's do a bit of romp or pomp. Going to be very fast, very furious, very silly. We're just trying to decide if these stories are fun-filled.
Well, I think that Tokyo Drift is sort of pomp.
Or more serious pomp and circumstance. Yeah. Here we go. First one, Smile. I don't remember it.
I do. Romp, I'd say.
Okay. Sea Devils. It's rompy with the
it's
big
rompy
cheese.
and pompy,
Yeah, a bit of both.
I mean, oh God, but I mean, I think it's possibly one of the best Pertwee and Delgado because they're kind of nice to each other for a while, and it's really sort of refreshing sometimes to watch that. It's
that coziness of the relationship almost.
Yeah, it's
got the clangers moment as well, which of course is
God,
rompy.
Yeah, that's fun.
The Ghost Monument.
Shit.
We can have a negative one as long as it rhymes with romp and pomp.
I can't think the end.
Coming up blank.
Broadcastable.
It never usually stops you.
Yeah, that's true.
The Massacre. Well, you can tell from the title it's a romp.
Yeah, it's definitely a romp.
It's not a romp at all. Last one. Midnight. Oh, that's terrifying. Not a romp.
That is very possibly RTD's best script.
That is RTD's Moffat impression. It's like a sort of enclosed high concept episode, which he does brilliantly. There we go. That was Romper Pomp. Moving on.
If you're seen to falter at the first challenge, you may lose everything.
So it is challenge time now. As long-term listener will know, hello to our listener in Singapore, by the way. Chaz has been challenged by me for some time now to watch The Mutants, and we've had a few, a various series of mishaps and problems and difficulties along the way. So keen to discover if you've managed to watch it at last.
Well, I've got a problem, right? I've been in memory problems and things. Unfortunately, I'd sort of made some eggs and stuff, and basically I went out afterwards to get some shopping because I was going to sort of get a few snacks and watch Mutants, just chill, and I came back and it turns out I'd left the
oh god, the gas.
I haven't got gas, but it's electricity, the hob. I'd left the hob on.
Was everything all right?
Well, no. The house was burnt down, basically.
Shit.
Yeah.
Nothing left.
Oh, ironically, the mutants.
Huh.
But unfortunately, I don't have a DVD to play it on.
Oh, of course.
But the insurance will come through.
And they're very fast, aren't they? You'll have it for next week.
Yeah.
Great.
He's created a monster, utterly devoid of conscience.
And you want to stop him?
It is time for Monster by Monster. We've been selecting a few monsters at random from a list from the BBC website and badly impersonating them. No, hang on. Talking about them. Okay, well, let's pick a monster. 131. Just need to look up the list. The Gods of Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's
the
great show.
Gods of Ragnarok.
Yes.
Entertain us.
How did Sylvester McCoy's Doctor travel? He just rolled on his R's.
That is a damn good story, and I think that as sort of entities, enemies, whatever you might call, they were actually very chilling because the depiction was the family.
Yeah.
Beforehand, and they were very sinister. You know,
it
I mean,
quite
it was
land
funny.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, you've got like Mummy God, Daddy God, and Baby God.
Well, I kind of loved it because it starts sort of. Well, I'm sure something's going to happen.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of that kind
of... It wasn't subtle or anything, but, you know.
The other thing that struck me about it was, I have fought the gods of Ragnarok all through eternity. It was like, it's bloody news to us after 26 years. And they've never come back for it.
Yeah, but, you know, they've got all different shapes and faces and... You know, whatever. It's
just like right behind every chumbly.
Well, it's a bit like the Guardians and stuff, you know.
I just think they sound like a death metal band, though. It's like, I thought the line that was cut was, I've fought the gods of Ragnarok through all eternity, and your third album's shite.
Yeah.
All right, let's do another. 23, it's going to be early. The Macra.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're terrible. I mean, terrifying.
Well, they brought them back, didn't they, for Gridlock?
Gridlock, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the animated story.
Haven't watched that yet, but I did watch the reconstruction.
It's actually on BritBox, the animation.
Is it?
Yes, one of the few.
Right.
But I think it's actually not bad.
It's a decent idea, the whole mind control and the claw on the screen is iconic.
If you watch that story, that strikes me as a Sylvester McCoy story.
Right.
If you watch it, I know it's obviously a trout,
it's the regime
but
change
it's this sort of story that wouldn't have been out of place in the Sylvester McCoy era.
Yeah, I can see that.
I quite like it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they themselves, from what you can see of the original, are like they look like a sort of construction on wheels.
Yeah,
flashing headlights
you know, they're not brilliant, but they look better in animation and they looked rather cool in Gridlock.
Yeah, exactly. All right. 247, that's near the end. It's the Skithra, or as I call them, the Racknot. So they're from Nikola Tesla, the scavenger race.
Yeah, just
scorpion, spidery.
You know, why not just call them the fucking Racknots?
Yeah, very derivative.
It's really, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be so bad as like when they said about letting Living Monsters, you know, Clom was next door, you know, and they look, there's a similarity, but not enough to be like cousin, you know, brother and sister, as it were, you know. But
part of the puzzle of that season, really, of all these things that looked a bit like other things.
I know, it's very strange. It's like when Planet of the Ood and they say they're near the sense sphere, you know, so the Ood are cousins to the Sensorites, which is fine because there's enough of a difference.
Yeah, I guess maybe there's a kind of a policy of not having throwaway references.
I think it was a policy of just reading the wardrobe.
Maybe. I think it was really strongly seeded by that trailer where you saw the face and the kind of the performance of the Skithra Queen. And
I mean, the performance was good, and it was Rani from Sarah Jane.
One more. 57, back in time. The K1 robot.
Oh.
So this is the giant robot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sort of like an evil Metal Mickey, or not that evil actually. He's kinda,
It's a very sad little story.
It's
actually.
a sort of Frankenstein story. He kind of
Yeah.
falls for Sarah
King
Kane.
Kong as well,
Yeah.
obviously. It's sad because basically the robot's been manipulated, and it's that sort of Asimov thing where they've been interfering with his programming.
Yeah, so there's all this shtick about he can't harm people.
Yeah,
until he can.
And it causes, obviously, the robot to, his programming is messing him up.
Yeah, well,
with Sarah, she's very sympathetic towards it.
Yeah.
And it's rather lovely and rather sad,
It's a
really.
good story for Sarah. I mean, I remember the Target book was called Doctor Who and the Giant Robot, and the story's just called Robot, which is sort of fair enough because he's only giant in the last episode, of course. That's the end of episode 3 is that moment of, that thing we thought would destroy him is making
I
him grow.
also think it's probably one of the most gentle introductions for any Doctor. He's kind of got a real easy ride on this story because it's he's sort of, he's allowed to, express himself and, be different and do things. And, it really sets Tom Baker up lovely. And then, of course, you immediately go into Ark in Space where he's
Been there forever.
That guy's been there forever, yeah.
Fun memories of that story. It was played by Michael Kilgarriff, wasn't it?
Who
Was
played
that Cyber Controller?
Yeah, he played Cyber Controller twice.
That's
'cause he
right.
played it in Attack of the Cybermen as well.
Complete with tight-fitting costume.
I don't know.
But yeah.
It's so funny.
No, and it's it's a nice sort of robot design as far as these things go. It's very.
I think he voiced it as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or that was my impression.
I kind of like the voice, actually.
Yeah, there was a sort of nice kind of, I don't know if this is the right phrase, but sort of lenticular camera effect, like sort of slightly kind of multiple angles, slightly distorted from the robot's point of view.
And John Scott Martin got an on-screen bit because he got choked.
He got choked
by the robot at the start. He was a security guard. So.
Yeah. It's a fun story, and obviously launched Tom Baker's era beautifully.
Absolutely.
Lovely. No, that was Monster by Monster.
Could it have been affected by tangential deviation coming out of the warp ellipse?
What are you talking about, Greastain?
Well, it is time for Tangent of the Week, and we have reached in our Red Dwarf rewatch Season X, or 10, depending on how you count. So this was the first sort of proper season on Dave, after Back to Earth, which we kind of will gloss over, having not enjoyed it very much. So we have the kind of core crew on the ship, very new sort of set designs. There's a kind of cockpit set, which is nothing like the drive room from before. We've got sort of harking back to the old days in the bunk room set. You can see like Rimmer's still got his newspaper clippings on his bunk wall. Arnie does it best and so on. It's like still in the background.
Yeah.
This was 2012, 3 years after Back to Earth. So 6 episodes. Let's do what we did previously and both pick a favourite, shall we? So I'll read the list. Trojan, Fathers and Sons, as in SUNS, Lemons, Entangled, Dear Dave, and The Beginning. The Beginning made me nervous because the first episode of Red Dwarf is called The End. And so maybe there was some doubt about whether there would be any more seasons, and so they chose to make an episode called The Beginning in case that was it.
I'm going to say I'm sort of torn between Dear Dave and Fathers and Sons.
Yeah,
I think
both involve Lister getting a message from the past.
I'm going to say Dear Dave, and the main reason is that this particular season, I wouldn't say it's the best season, but I loved it, I think, more than I've loved it before, because I had only seen 4 episodes of the season, and Dear Dave was brand new
to you, yeah,
to me, and it was just, oh my god, this new Red Dwarf,
yeah,
and it was amazing, and I just really enjoyed it.
Sweet.
And I've got season 11 and 12 that I haven't seen, so I've got a lot of new Red Dwarf to catch up on.
Yeah, and I've watched them maybe 2 or 3 times each only, so it's still quite fresh to me. But this one, what would my favourite be? I think maybe I'll go for the one you rejected, Fathers and Sons, where Dave, every Father's Day, being his own father for reasons previously explored, he gets very blind drunk, writes himself a Father's Day card, sends it and then reads it when he's in the morning and he can't remember what the hell he wrote. So it's a stupid, brilliant idea which they use to make a very funny kind of plot with tough love.
And you've also got the new onboard computer that literally is just dropping logic bombs every 2 minutes. You know?
Was that pre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's basically anticipating everything that you say.
That's like I've decided that after this conversation you would instruct me to do this, so you now no longer need to have this conversation.
It's so silly, but it's so
fair play
much
to Lister.
fun.
He out logics her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Trojan is you get Rimmer's brother, which is interesting.
That's right. Yeah, Frank, is it?
I can't remember. Howard.
Yeah, that's right.
No, and actually, in a sort of funny way, I'm a bit nervous. It's sort of like the show tinkering with one of its fundamentals, which is Rimmer's sort of tortured relationship with his family. And when you actually have his brother turn out to be, I should say, spoilers for Red Dwarf 10 if you haven't seen it, when his brother turns out to be a loser as well, it's sort of, again, there's that slight casualness with which he dies, and Rimmer's kind of...
but it also takes away, like, him being a loser.
Yeah.
Sort of takes away a bit of Arnie's thing about, oh God, I'm the only loser in the family and stuff.
I mean, you can never sort of heal Arnold Rimmer's psyche and still have the character.
Of course
so
not.
Next week it's as if it never happened kind of thing. But Lemons, I think, is entirely written around getting them back into sort of early first century Earth, just so Lister can say Jesus and some guy can turn around and go, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually is such a brilliant episode.
It's very funny.
Especially the payoff at the end as well.
But the whole sort of absurd, extreme and utterly unrealistic joke of them walking halfway across the world to get some lemons and then going, now we need copper, and they've come from Britain. They go, Britain's got lots of copper.
But it's the fact that Crichton, they could have basically just taken some bits out of Crichton.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, he must have a power source.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, never let the science get in the way of the comedy, as you always say.
No, that is the best rule that Red Dwarf can pay attention to, is, screw the science, more comedy.
More funnies.
Yeah.
Entangled, there's this sort of quantum babble that gets the cat and Crichton speaking at the same time and has a lot of kind of fun with coincidence.
That is great. I mean, this is a series where they kind of get the fun back.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually. Dear Dave, we talked about Lister gets a letter from an ex in the mail pod.
Yeah.
Was it Better Than Life where they got the mail pod?
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And Whittaker. Oh no, that was Garbage Pod.
Yeah.
So.
But no, the pile of letters is almost a direct quote from its earlier episode, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was saying, please rush me, my portable walrus.
Yeah, but the beginning, the last episode has, I think, if I had to pick a favourite moment or a favourite scene, there's a lovely little set piece between the evil, can't remember what they're called, or some sort of simulant or something.
Oh God!
So the minion calls him my dominator, and he sort of says, "You failed me, and I do not tolerate failure. You know what you must do." And he slides his sword across the table.
No, God!
And they're playing that trope of the minion having to kill themselves beautifully. So Julie, he picks up the sword, stabs himself with it, and goes, "Ooh, ow!" And then he goes, "You must clean my sword." And he goes, "Hang on. Not kill myself with it, just clean it." That wasn't very clear.
It's not just that, it's the way he does it. Ooh!
Yeah.
Oh!
Like he's got a paper cut or something. Yeah.
Those two are actually brilliant.
Yeah, I almost wish they'd come back.
The Dominator character.
They got blown up.
He's so funny.
Yeah, Rimmer's pretty heroic at the end, and he ends it as well, did you notice, with the slimes coming home, which is the last line of Lister's in the first episode ever, at the end. So there was definitely a sort of slight sense that might be it.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling. But
as we know,
fortunately,
well, looking ahead, Series 11 was not until 2016, so there was another gap
in my box are such delights.
We are going to do a new feature called Box of Delights. Now, that is, if you haven't heard of it, a drama series starred Patrick Troughton, and I haven't seen it for years since broadcast. What was it, 80s?
Yeah. Ironically, it's something I watch every single Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so I did when I was at school. I'd seen it on TV, and I wrote an essay at school about TV, and I called that Box of Delights. And
Brilliant.
remember that because the teacher thought that was a nice title, and I was all smug. But what are we doing with Box of Delights? I have basically got a box. We've filled our box, which is actually a TARDIS money box, with folded up bits of paper on which are written the names of various old TV shows, which many of which Chaz has on DVD, and many of which I've either never seen or haven't seen since the 70s or 80s when they were first broadcast. Some are more recent, some I've seen. It's basically just a whole mixture of stuff that we figured we'd like to talk about at some point, and we thought we'd keep the random element going by drawing one from the box like we used to do with the box of docs. So, Chaz, let's start us off.
Okay.
Sound effect time.
Oh, wow.
I'm opening the Box of Delights.
I got one. Ooh, what could it be? See, I even provide my own soundtrack. So, it's the Omega Factor.
Yeah,
Wow.
the one that I don't think I've ever seen.
Okay, well, that stars Louise Jameson, and I can't remember the actor's name. He was in London's Burning, but more importantly, he was the father in Chalky.
Right, which I have seen but not
Yeah.
for years. So what we're going to do is we will watch Omega Factor and then talk about it next time.
Yeah, and that's a Scottish series as well.
Okay.
It's,
Without
sort of-
spoiling it for me, is there anything else you want to...
okay.
Where is it on the sort of Kinvig to something good spectrum?
Jesus, it's way beyond Kinvig.
I mean, it would have to be.
In terms of how bad it is.
I guess it's also fair to say that this Box of Delights section is inspired by what Gareth Preston, our guest last week, was doing on Very British Features. So not ripping you off at all, Gareth, promise.
Oh, no, of course not. We're blatantly ripping you off. Alright. Anyway, as I say, Omega Factor, it's a sort of paranormal investigation type series.
Okay.
It's sort of government based, but there's a lot of sort of shadowy things going on as well.
That's probably enough for me, because as you know, I like to see things cold. So
I think it's good fun. And,
we'll open the window and watch that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
9 times out of 10.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us, or if you're a drunk giraffe, we're now on anchor.fm/randomizer. You can leave us a voice memo there. Or you can email randomizerpodcast@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter
at randomizerpod, and in all cases, that's randomizer with an S, not a Z. Let me go again. So we've got...
Betty Boo.
I love the way you shake it.
Thank you. What about the box? Thank you for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us, or if you're a junk giraffe... Junk giraffe? Junk giraffe? Your junk looks like a giraffe. Taking longer to record the outro than the whole damn episode.